But I'm very much better than 30 years ago. I have the same thought. Why aren't they home? They're not home. But I don't skip that thought. I think it came in. It came in the package. Like I'm not going to get any taller either, and nor will my eyes change color. And I think that fretting gene came along with the package. And I buy my clothes in the short people department, and I'm tolerant about the fact that my mind frets, and it doesn't bother me very much. I say, oh, there it goes again. We'll just do something else until don't pay any attention to it. It's just here again. Actually, recently I've begun to appreciate it. I thought the time would never come. I've heard plenty of people say, embrace the wound. I said, forget it. I don't want to embrace any wound. But actually, I recently decided that I could tell a different story about the fretting mind. And how many people here have a fretting mind? Yeah. So there you go. When in doubt, fret. But I decided recently that since I saw that I have an incredible ability to make out of nothing a whole story of what could be wrong, that maybe it's partially responsible for why I am a good storyteller. I can make up things. So I thought to myself, oh good, I have such an inventive mind. That's why. Maybe if I didn't have such an inventive mind, I couldn't write stories. So maybe it's a good thing, who knows? So that's the closest I can come to embracing it. If somebody came tomorrow and said, you drink this magic potion, it'll be gone, I would drink. But it's really true. But that's what I think. I think we get wiser when we pay attention. When my mind relaxes, it gets wiser. When it gets wiser, it gets kinder. When it gets kinder, it's more spacious, it's more forgiving. I have less with my life, with people and with the events in my life, and I'm happier. I think that's the best way to be. And I can look around and look at creation and really, really appreciate it. If my mind is preoccupied, this all could be here, all this beauty, and might not see it. Because you can't see out if you're caught seeing in. I think we also practice to keep our mind more buoyant. That's a word I've started to use a lot this year. I've realized how easy it is for my mind to get heavy with the news of the world or the troubles in my family or whatever it is, that it's really possible easily for my mind to start sinking. So I've liked the idea of a buoyant mind. And I was thinking a lot about Norman talking the other night about framing and the frame that frames how a story is framed makes a difference. I was thinking that one of the things that's true, I said it a little bit before, that when my mind is relaxed, the frame around my life and the events of my life is bigger, so that this may be true. I may have this particular worry about this grandchild or this daughter-in-law or this cousin. I have those worries, but I also have a big frame in which is the other stuff of my life. I recently was in New York, and it was winter and it was cold, and I was meeting a friend to go to the theater, and I got on the bus and it was going so slow, and the Broadway bus, the 104 bus down Broadway, was going so slowly, and I thought, I should have taken the subway. I'm going to be late. She's going to be at the box office. I won't be there. It was really, I should have taken the subway. Anyway, the bus is going really slowly. Finally, I think to myself, I could walk faster than this bus is going. And I'm not so far from 45th Street. I'll get out. It's 55th Street. I can walk faster than this bus. I get out. Right away, the bus zips by me because it picks up speed. So now I'm really annoyed. And then I see I'm really late, so now I'm running down Broadway. I'm running down Broadway in high-heeled boots on a slippery, it's been snowing ground. And I'm in such a grumble with myself about having made every wrong choice. And then I suddenly realized that I was in a big rumble with myself. And I suddenly realized, I kept on running, but I'm out of breath, and it's cold, and it's slippery. And I stopped and I thought, you know what? I'm 71 years old and I'm running down Broadway in high heels. That's a huge frame, you know, in the cold, in the winter, and I'm meeting a friend whom I love to go to the theater. That is one big frame to put your experience in. And what's over here, one of my friends with whom one of my teachers said, if you put a teaspoon of salt in a cup of tea, you can't drink it. But if you put it in a lake, you won't know about it. So, do we have time? This is one of my favorite poems. I wanted to read it because I was into a poetry mood, and it's about a frame. It's by Billy Collins, who's one of my favorite poets. And it's called Another Reason Why I Don't Keep a Gun in the House. The neighbor's dog will not stop barking. He is barking the same high rhythmic bark that he barks every time they leave the house. They must switch him on their way out. The neighbor's dog will not stop barking. I close all the windows in the house and I put on a Beethoven symphony full blast, but I can still hear him muffled under the music, barking, barking, barking. And now I can see him sitting in the orchestra, his head raised confidently as if Beethoven had included a part for barking dog. When the record finally ends, he is still barking, sitting there in the oboe section, barking, his eyes fixed on the computer who is entreating him with his baton, while the other musicians listen in respectful silence to the famous barking dog solo, that endless coda that first established Beethoven as an innovative genius. I love that. You put a bigger frame around it. In the end, though, I think really the reason that we sit is to recognize again and again that when my mind forgives, when my mind stops its contentious rant, when my mind isn't ranting about somebody else or about me in my own inside continual op-ed page, that I actually am, like we all are, kind, that benevolence is a fundamental gift. I think that when we chant on Yom Kippur the attributes of God, El Rachum V'Chanun, Erech Apayim, all those things, compassionate, gracious, slow to anger, forgiving. Those are the attributes of our own human heart. There's a line in Psalms about being a little lower than angels, but I think it's actually quite divine to think about us as having that potential. And to discover it again and again in myself, as I'm sure you've discovered, when you feel good and at ease. People look different. They look familiar. They don't look so different than us. When I'm teaching somewhere and maybe I'm going to give a talk somewhere in a place where I don't know anybody, and I arrive and I'm sitting myself down in front of a hall with maybe a lot of people in it, or I peek out, I see how many people are there. And if you have a fretful mind, you think, holy, what if I forget everything I knew? It's just a regular thought. Other people don't think that, but I think that. What if I forget everything? What if I faint while I'm talking? What if this? What if that? If I ever write another book, I'm probably going to call it What If This, What If That, because that's kind of a mind. What if this, what if that? But if I look out and I see all those people and I think to myself, because then you start to get sweaty palms and you start to have dry mouth. If I look out and I look at all the people, and I actually look at people and I think to myself, I love you, may you be well, and I love you, may you be well, and I love you, may you be well. And I actually do that. And I think to myself, I do love them because they all came to hear me.